All right, everybody, welcome back. It's Friday. I got an exciting end of the week coming. Always exciting to see how we end it, and look forward to the weekend, and then back to trading again on Monday. So, without wasting any more of your or my time, we got to go. First up, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin put in this little pin bar and is trying to push back up to retest this high here, but we got this overhead resistance coming in from our winds, our trade winds coming overhead. So be careful with Bitcoin, and that's on Coinbase. But let's look at our Bitcoin on Thinkorswim. All right, so our Thinkorswim Bitcoin is telling us, oops, that's Corsair, and it's actually supposed to be looking at the S&P first. So let's do S&P first, but we already know Bitcoin is trying to push up. But the S&P is sitting in our trade winds, got an overhead breeze coming down to help force it down. So we'll have to see what happened at the end of today. Today's bar is going to be a telltale sign. If we get down in here somewhere, don't get too excited that we're going lower. Wait for Monday and into Tuesday and see what we do, because we may start just chopping around in here a little bit, and not trying to get us below these trade winds before the next week. But I think this morning we're most likely going to see a little bit of a push up to retest this area in here, and then maybe a little pullback. But it's currently looking weak this morning in the pre-market on the S&P. Now we got Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is trying to push up, and then it's also pushing down. So we got some buyers in here, but then we also got some sellers overhead. So be careful with that. We're still within this channel heading downwards, and we're still within this range going across this way. So right now, and we got our trade winds that are coming in that are flat. So this nice little breeze overhead is not really acting like it's really want to force it downward. It's just kind of gradually heading this way. So we'll have to see how we end out on the day on the Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin is starting to maybe taper off a little bit and maybe find a bottom in here. So give it some time and let's see what happens as our trade winds continue to push up and give it some support. All right. I got a lot of support going on right in here right now on Bitcoin. So let's sit tight and keep an eye on it. Next up is the oil, and oil looked like it may have found some support down in here. I'm not going to call it a bottom just yet because we haven't retested it. And so when we get a little pop up and come back down, if we fall through and we find a bottom and then come back up and go through, and then we know that was our bottom and we're ready to head higher. All right, so keep an eye on that with oil. Oil right now is finding some support where it's at currently. Next up is our E-mini, and the E-mini is saying that it is possibly ready to fall through our trade winds here. Got this breeze overhead coming down, pointing straight down too, along with their this wind, this heading down. We got this breeze overhead heading down. So and our trade winds we're about to fall through our trade winds and get into the storms below. So be careful with this one right now on the S&P futures. Our futures are starting to look like they're getting weaker. We do have some support here in this area, so we'll see what happens. If we find some support and we're ready to get back through these winds, we'll have to see what happens with that as they tend to roll over and go flat. If they roll over and start heading down and our price continues to fall, then we know we're going to have a lot of overhead pressure pressing us, sending us down lower. All right. Next up is the Ethereum, and Ethereum may have found its bottom. It kind of bottomed out here and then dropped off again. Now it looks like it's trying to find the bottom here. So we'll see what happens with this one. on Ethereum. But currently it looks like it's in a downtrending market. Well, we haven't rolled over completely on our trade winds. We do have this breeze overhead forcing us down, but we haven't got our trade winds coming over to really put that pressure on it. Alright, so but this breeze is kind of enough to keep it heading downward, as you can see here in the past. Just keeps working it down. So Ethereum looks like it wants to continue to sell at this point. Next up is gold. And gold just keeps tinkering around in this area. It just can't seem to get through this price right here for some reason. So keeps putting in these bars. And so we'll see what happens with gold. Gold is just trying to hang in here as best it can, but it's not really looking very like it has a lot of conviction to get up through here, or even to go up and retest this area here. So we'll see what happens with gold, and as the days roll on. But right now it's just kind of trading sideways, or in this basically in between here and there. So let's see if we can get rid of this now. We'll remove that one. That one we'll leave because that's where we keep bumping our heads against. Activate that one, and we'll drag it down here. And we'll say that's our channel that we're running in, or our range that we're bouncing around in. Alright, so far that's our range, and this is seems to be a good resistance in our range as well. So let's see what happens with that. And that's gold. Next up is natural gas. And natural gas is still bullish. Got a little pullback. 2-bar pullback ain't bad. Alright, got our breeze coming up to support. Got our trade, our little bit of a support coming here with the breeze, and I don't know if I like calling it a breeze, so I'm gonna have to work on that. We got a little bit of support coming in through here, so that's good. Natural gas is still looking bullish. Just be careful with this pullback. All right. And as you can see, generally the pullbacks on natural gas can be kind of deep before it starts to head up. Like this one here was kind of deep, so I don't think this one here will be as deep, but we are running into this resistance area again, so keep an eye on that one. But we need a green bar to go back and retest. So I wouldn't be surprised if we pull back down in here and got a little more consolidation going, and then re-attacking this area, because right now that's just seemed to be a lot of overhead resistance. We already tested twice, so we'll see what happens with natural gas. Next up is the NASDAQ. It may be a temporary support as our moving averages, as our trade winds start to roll over. So we'll see what happens with the NASDAQ. Alright, but currently it's looking bearish, starting to look bearish in the NASDAQ. So we're in a bullish stance for the silver, and we should continue to head higher in silver. Next up is the Y mini, the Dow, and the Dow is getting down into our trade winds. Got these overhead bearish winds forcing us down, and then we also have this little doji just popped up in here. It's also an indication that we have some indecision going on in here. So we'll see what happens with this bear winds coming down, and this trade winds getting into these trade winds. If they start to roll over, of course, and if this breaks through, then this last line of defense is this 41,000 area. And once that gives out, let's look out below. We'll be stuck underneath these thunderstorms heading downward. Next up is corn. Corn did a little bit of a dead cat bounce at the at our trade wins and at this little bitty support here. So we'll see what happens if it's going to get rejected at this overhead resistance area that used to be support and sell off, or is it going to try to push on through? We'll see what happens with that. But currently it's putting in this fat doji, which means it's starting to have some doubts about itself, especially after this rejection here. So keep an eye on that for the reversal to head back down on corn. Next up is going to be one of our followers had mentioned, a ticker HSY. Cancel. There's been a lot of talk about the benefits of chocolate lately on the web. So I wonder if that's what's helping push Hershey's. Because if you go back in time here, 5 years back, Hershey's did a nice climb. We were at 109, and we pushed all the way up to 276. Now we're on the backside of that mountain, maybe going back higher. So we'll see what happens. We already hit our peak over here at 276. So now we hit a nice little V bottom heading back up. So let's get a little closer view. Take it about 6 months out. And at 6 months out, get us a nice little roll down here. Hit a bottom, gapped up. I don't like that. That little window right there is never, in my opinion, a good sign. Alright, well, I mean, it's a good sign, but it's not beneficiary to us as far as our moves are concerned, because that creates a vacuum that needs to be filled. Alright, they left the house and left the window open. At some point they're going to want to go back and shut that window. So be careful with Hershey's. We got the trade winds overhead, still got to get through that, and it also has an overhead resistance of $182. So if we can't push through here, we need to get enough to force our way through here. It already got rejected once, now it's trying it again, and it's going for a third time. So be careful with this one. Especially with the rest of the market showing some weakness. Hershey may have to at least bow down to what's happening in the rest of the market for a time being, and it might be a good chance to come back down, shut that window before heading higher. So but right now Hershey's is in a bear market, looking really bullish from this point up, but look out for this overhead resistance of all this right now. It's quite a bit going on. Did have this window that it had opened up here, so it may want to shut that window before selling back off. So that may be where it's going, back to shut this window here. So yeah, that's what I got for Hershey. But a nice move right there. Would have liked to have seen that and got a part of that heading up, at least up into the air, and I'd have been out right here, which is probably what a lot of people are going to do. So that's just my take on Hershey's. And then there was another one our follower had, which was SBAC. And SBAC, nice bowl. Alright. Our cup. Looking for the handle. I guess that could be a handle over there too. But that's a nice little bowl pattern they put in. Don't see any windows left open anywhere. We had a window here, but it came back and shut it. So yeah, this is starting to look a little bullish. Let's see, we're trapped in our trade winds at the moment, but we do have this breeze coming underneath to help lift our wings, and that's all we needed to get underneath our wings and help lift us even higher. So as long as this breeze keeps underneath and keeps pushing, and we don't pause too long and run into each other in here and get a nice congestion going, we should continue higher. So that looks pretty good. Yeah, so far SBA Communications is right now, it's currently neutral, but it looks like it wants to get bullish. Let's see, it had its earnings come up, and earnings did didn't do bad on earnings. It didn't do what it estimated, but it didn't do bad either. It is positive. And so far it's been positive for all these years to come. And it pays a nice dividend as well. So SBAC communication is a go, but wait for this neutralness to turn positive or negative before fully committing. You can be loading up in here and have your stop below here. This bar here, I would have my stop down here somewhere and be loading up in here, just loading up, dollar cost averaging, or just adding once a little bit every month or a little bit whatever, or however I decided to play it. And that would be my stop down below here somewhere, and yeah, and ride that baby up. So might be a good, let's see how we're looking on the trade desk for our options on this one. Options are not the best, kind of expensive. So puts are cheap because they don't expect it to pull back, but our calls are not looking very cheap. You can get a good call, about $2.60 at 230. So, but that's way up here somewhere. So you're going to start out at a deficit first off. You don't want that. You'd rather buy the $200 call and be in the money when you first buy it. Way down here. Yeah, it's come all the way back down in here to get you out. So yeah, this may be worth it. Not looking too bad, I gotta say. SBA Communications. All right. Well, that's all I got for this morning. I'm not going to talk about Rocket Lab or Chipotle because both of those are showing some weakness. They're selling. I got puts on them, so I currently am going to just sit back and watch and see what they do. So, and you should have already looked at some of my other videos and have an idea what to do about those two as well. And so yeah, I'm just waiting for the fall to stop, and then I can start going long again on those two. All right, but right now I'm just hedging my position, protecting my what I own in Chipotle, not in Rocket Lab, but in Chipotle. I think I'm gonna get away from stocks like those and just start building my dividend stocks and just putting buying puts on my dividend stocks. So hedging my position, growing my position at the same time, and and then as I recoup those losses with my puts, I'll just buy more of that particular stock that I ran the put on, and that'll help grow my account as well. Okay, so that's just an idea that you might want to try while you're also, growing your account, and that'll help protect your capital gains. That'll help avoid those wash sales and stuff like that. I had misspoke on the wash sale thing. I had said that I'd buy it back the next, but it's usually about a month out before you can buy the stock again to incur that wash sale. So you need to wait at least 30 days. It's either 30 or 31 days that you need to at least wait after you sell the stock before you can buy it again, so you don't create that wash sale and lose the opportunity to write that loss off. Okay, so that's my take on the wash sale. You should still do your own due diligence and make sure that I'm not feeding you the incorrect information, because I'm just telling you what I know to believe, that I believe to be true. But you need to verify everything you hear from anybody. All right, so that's all I got for now. I think we got a good day of trading ahead. Everything is looking like it's just kind of in the area where you need to just sit back and watch and see what happens. Not really making any decisions up or down at this point. Just kind of whatever you got going, just put your stops in and just you know monitor it if you want to, or not monitor it. Once you got your stops in, you don't really have to do anything. You can just walk away and go and start your weekend early. Alright, so that's all I got for now. Thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and be careful out there. These markets are crazy.